Have you ever tried to pacify a screaming child by dangling a shiny object in front of them? It's an age-old, field-proven, tried and tested tactic. A crying baby captivated by the jangle of a bunch of keys might quieten down momentarily. A toddler in the throes of a mid-restaurant meltdown might be distracted by the colourful menu or the sight of the ice cream machine. Sometimes it works, a brief respite from the chaos, a momentary balm for frayed nerves. But does it solve the problem? Of course it doesn't. The child is still hungry, tired, overwhelmed, or sitting in their own crap. The distraction is a surface-level fix, a temporary solution to avoid addressing the root cause. And when the child snaps back to reality, the crying resumes, often louder than before. Now consider this. Isn't that exactly how the demolition and construction industry treats its workers? Think about it. Our industry is plagued by issues that demand deep systemic change, yet time and time again, those in power reach for the metaphorical jangling keys to distract the workforce from their frustrations. The industry faces an outcry about on-site accidents and fatalities. And what do we get? We get toolbox talks, safety posters, and token initiatives. These measures are nothing more than smoke and mirrors, an insult to the intelligence of the very people keeping the industry alive. They don't fundamentally address the underlying causes and concerns. They merely provide a veneer of action, a facade of concern that barely masks the deeper rot. And let's be clear, that rot runs deep. Workers are exhausted physically and mentally. The pressure to meet deadlines, the long hours, and the relentless grind are breaking people. For some, which we've touched on earlier in the show, it results in burnout or extended sick leave. For others, tragically, it leads to them taking their own lives. And how does the industry respond? By jangling the keys of mental health awareness campaigns and appointing mental health first aiders. Those efforts might look good in a press release, but they're nothing more than a sticking plaster on a festering wound. They don't fix the structural flaws that lead to such despair in the first place. It's not that mental health awareness isn't important. It is. But what good is awareness if the very conditions driving people to the brink remain unchanged? Awareness without action is hollow. It's a joke, and it's not even a funny one. Workers don't need more posters telling them to open up. They need fewer reasons to close themselves off in the first place. They need better workloads, humane hours, and leaders who value their well-being as much as their productivity. And then there's the glaring issue of gender inequality. Women remain a tiny minority in our industry, and the reasons are no mystery. Misogyny, inappropriate behaviour, and a culture that's openly hostile to women, rampant through the industry. The solution? Crack down hard on harassment, stamp out sexism, and create an environment where women feel safe, valued, and respected? Instead, what do we get? Bright pink PPE and a token Woman of the Year award. Let's call it what it is. It's a marketing ploy. Pink PPE doesn't empower women, it patronizes them. A single token female hire doesn't prove progress. It merely highlights the systemic barriers that keep women out in the first place. These surface-level gestures are the industry's jangling keys, distractions that do nothing to address the entrenched issues driving women away. The same pattern repeats across every single challenge we face. Skill shortages? The answer is a half-hearted apprentice scheme that does little to retain new talent in the face of grueling work conditions and stagnant wages. Worker safety? Another PowerPoint presentation on best practices while corners are cut every single day on site to meet impossible deadlines. But here's the thing. Workers today aren't stupid. They can see through the charade. They know they're being placated instead of being heard. They feel the strain of the problems that are being ignored. No amount of shiny distractions can erase the reality of an industry that too often treats its people as expendable. Enough is enough. The time for superficial fixes is over. If the industry genuinely cares about its workers, it needs to prove it with real, meaningful change. Stop hiding behind empty gestures and start addressing the root causes. Stop the endless grind of unrealistic deadlines and prioritize safety over speed. Redesign workflows to minimize risks. Create a culture where workers feel supported and not bled dry. Mental health issues don't emerge in a vacuum. They're the byproduct of a toxic work environment, relentless pressure, and a lack of support. Fix the conditions that create the problem instead of waiting to treat the symptoms. Offer flexible hours, fair pay, and a leadership that listens and acts. And don't even think about putting a woman on the cover of your next annual report unless you've really done some hard work dismantling the misogyny that keeps so many women out of this industry. Zero tolerance for harassment isn't a slogan, it's a mandate. Equal opportunities isn't a line. If you're not ready to do that, don't insult our intelligence by pretending otherwise. The workers in this industry are its backbone. They build, they demolish, and they create. Without them, the industry doesn't exist. It's time they were treated with the respect and dignity they so richly deserved, not as cogs in a machine, not as numbers on a spreadsheet, but as human beings whose lives and well-being really matter. This is a call to action to the industry leaders, to the policymakers, to everyone with the power to influence change. Stop jangling the keys. Stop placating. Start listening and start acting. To the workers, your voice matters. Speak up, demand better, refuse to accept half measures and distractions. Change won't come overnight, but it starts with rejecting the shiny objects and insisting on real solutions. Just one final point. Remember this. The child distracted by a bunch of keys eventually grows up and learns to demand what they need. It's time for this industry to grow up too. Enough with the distractions. It's time to fix what is so clearly broken.